investment in healthcare sector and the wellness sector also. And we have a great panel today, and we have people who are from the industry, the investment funds, and then the players who are supporting, facilitating the insurance also in this segment. So it's a great panel which we have today, and I would like to welcome to all of you in this webinar. We have people who have joined us from the different background also, the people from industry, people from the professional background, people are from investment category, investors, the bankers. So people who are listening us, and we will try to justify whatever we will discuss here, so that justify in the sense that whatever the topic is there, we'll try to cover up in a big way. Friends, as you know that India's healthcare sector is the largest one in terms of employment and revenue generation. And in last decade, if you have seen, the growth is very, I think, high in terms of percentage. And there are, I think, the many different kind of stakeholders are there. Those are involved. So the healthcare companies, which are hospitals, the diagnostic chains, and then the health tech companies, which are growing in a big manner. Then the wellness is one of the area which is also growing very fast after COVID. I think this wellness sector has also shown us, or the public at large, that only the health is not important when you are having some problem, but you have to keep your health fit and proper, so that you should not face any such kind of situation where you have to go to the hospital. People are now more conscious about their health, their well-being, and a lot of investment is also, people are spending a lot on this, on their health and their family health also. So friends, as you know, this India's healthcare sector has both profit and non-profit element actually. So it started with non-profit, and then now the profit organizations are also there. And the healthcare delivery, healthcare quality has also improved a lot. And people, initially it was focused on it was dominated by the government sector, but now the private sector has also grown very fast actually. If we see from the investment point of view, investment in this sector, it's a very large investment has been done in the last decade. If we see globally, almost $750 billion has been invested in this sector globally. And India, if you see the journey in last 5 years, the growth has also done there was a very good growth in this sector from the PE point of view. And there are many funds, dedicated money or dedicated mandate to invest in the healthcare sector, which has helped a lot to this sector, and in the future also it will be helpful for the industry. I was reading somewhere that lot of dry powder is available for investment. So many private equity funds have raised money, but due to COVID, they could not find out the good companies, or they could not decide whether they should invest at this time or not. So a lot of money, a lot of dry powder is available, which will be invested in the coming time, and the industry will get this advantage also. And we see in terms of the pros and cons of the investments in the healthcare sector or the private equity investment. So we see that the investment is helping in many ways actually, when they are taking the risk. The investors are taking the risk. They are coming at the stage when the models are not very much, I think, well established. They're putting money, and they're helping in many ways in terms of partnerships, in terms of bringing the expertise. And by this, taking the equity money, you can leverage your money, and you can take more debt on the balance sheet, so you can grow fast, you can set up the large project. So there are many advantages in terms of growth, in terms of the whatever scaling up of the business you want to do from the private equity money. But there are certain things which come along with the investment. So and whenever any investment is coming, definitely the corporates or the industry should be more disciplined in terms of their record, their financials, their in terms of their board governance. Governance is the major area actually which need to be seen by the industry, and the profitability, because you cannot run the organization like we are running. You have to see that you have to give the return to the investors, and there are other expectations in terms of board seat, and also these are whenever anybody is taking any investment from the private equity fund, they have to keep these things in mind, that definitely, because the investors are not having their own money, they are raising money from the investors, the different investors who are from the different part of the world, and they are pulling that money, and so they are the custodian of the money. They have to see that this money should be safe, and this money should also be returned to the investor who have invested at the return expectations of the investors. So practically, the private equity money which is coming for investment or which is investing in the company, generally the trend is that the tenure is something around 4 to 7, 8 years whenever any investment is coming. So whenever any investment is taken by any corporate, they have to see that the time horizon is something around 4 to 8 years. Then there should be the exit plan in the mind, that how they'll exit from that investment. So all these things are there which need to be kept in mind, and there are very many success stories are there when the private equity investment has come and the companies have grown multifold actually. So I have one simple example which is known to everybody. The company called Dr. Lal Pathlev. Dr. Pathlev, because I'm from Delhi, so I've seen the journey of this company actually. This was having only one lab in Connaught Place area. They were not willing to take the private equity, and somebody, the investors like you, have convinced them, and they took the private equity. The entire professional came into the system. They have changed the model, delivery model, and you see that today they have the Asia's largest lab in the country actually. So these are there are many case studies or many such examples where the private equity money has come, and these companies have grown multifold, and they have, I think, facilitated to their customers also, because the models which have been evolved, these were not thought of earlier. So the private equity money is coming along with that. They're bringing the practices from the global market also. So friends, these are some of the points which I would like to just highlight so that it can set the tone of the discussion. I have a small PPT which I'll run through, which might give you some numbers, fact and figures. So I'll run through very fast, and all of you are waiting for the listening to our speakers. So I'll request my team to please run through this PPT. So these are, I think, the number that in terms of the allocation in the budget by the government for the healthcare, and the growth of the healthcare in last, if you see in 2020, there was 2021, there was a growth of something around 1.5x in the sector. And this multi-specialty, I think the growth was very fast in multi-specialty hospitals, multi-specialty chains, and the followed by the diagnostics and the single specialty chains also. And we have seen in the past that there are consolidations. So many large chains also have consolidated themselves with the large private equity money, and they are becoming big and big actually. So this trend is there. We'll discuss on that. And out of this, more than 100 unicorns, the 4 unicorns are from the healthcare industry. The number is not very big, but I will see that in future. I think there'll be more unicorns in the healthcare industry. And we see this diagnostic chains are growing very, very fast actually. I think in the next 5 years, there is expectation that the growth will be more than 17%. Next slide. So the per capita expenditure, I think it is still very, very low in comparison to the other part of the world. So we have a lot of scope. So we have something around 1.5, and there is a scope of 11x in the developed other countries actually. So I think huge opportunities are there, and we have the large population also. So definitely a lot of growth is there. Expenditure is only 4% of GDP. So if you see, we compare with other small countries also. Nepal is having 6% of the GDP. Vietnam is having 6%. UK has 10%. So still there is a scope for the future growth in that healthcare expenditures. Next. These are some of the investments on the larger scale. In the PE side, actually, we see. So this Manipal Health, where the NIF invested, then they have acquired the Columbia SCR. So like this, there are many investment in the multi-specialty chains or the single specialty chains and out of hospital formats and the diagnostic also. So these are the names which all of you must have seen. We have tried to bring out all the at one place. So there are investment in every sector actually, and the organization growing very fast actually. Next, yeah, next. So this is something I think the kind of investments you see that the single investment in Manipal Hospital it was something around $300 billion. So size of investment is also increasing day by day in the different segments of the healthcare. Next, and both the domestic and international investors are investing. So these are the key growth drivers for the growth. I think the people are now interested to or they want the quality healthcare actually. So they are investing or they are I think expending money on the quality healthcare. Insurance is also I think insurance coverage is also helping the kind of quality healthcare also. And in terms of the private hospitals has also, I think, worked out that they are giving very much quality healthcare facilities to the patients. And the lot of spending is also happening. Then the complex cases are increasing. So that is another, I think, area which is helping in the growth, although it's not good for the country, but practically we see these complex cases are growing this or increasing the ARPOB also of the hospitals. And the tertiary care, I think this is another area which is also helping or growing. And then the medical tourism. I think this is one area which is, I think, very small in the country as of today in comparison to other part of the world. But I think the number is increasing. One of my friend who was the CEO of one hospital, he started one hospital which is caring, which will take care only for the medical tourism actually. So dedicated hospitals are coming, which will be dedicated only for the medical tourism. So this kind of I think thought process is there. So India, I think in terms of many things, we are cheaper in terms of cost, the quality of healthcare. So these are some of the key drivers for the growth of the healthcare sector. Next. So overview, I think there are, you see that there are many areas are there which are helping the overall growth of the industry. And we see that FICCI has come out with a report where they have given the numbers. So there are many research organizations are there. They have published the report on the industry. And the young population, I think they are more, I think, concerned about their wellness. So wellness industry is also growing very fast actually because of this. Next. So we cover up, we see the wellness. So there are 6 areas of wellness. So better health, better fitness, better nutrition, better appearance, better sleep. So these are the, I think, areas where the people are more concerned. They are spending a lot of money on that. And people want better sleep. They want the better appearance also. They are focusing on the nutrition also, better fitness. So the wearable devices are helping a lot actually. So this is part of the healthcare industry also. Next. So these are some of the investments. So we see that the private equity investor in the healthcare industry, in the same way the number is increasing in the wellness side also. There are many investment we see in the last one or 2 years. Many investment have already been done in this segment, and these companies are growing and they are coming out with the new solutions also. So friend, this is some numbers from our side. Now I would like to invite our panelists who all are well experienced and well known in the industry. They have seen many case studies, many examples, and they have invested a lot of money. And Mr. Bajaji there, who has run through the entire journey of the hospital. Friends, we have Ms. Alka Goyal, she the founding partner of Alchemy Capital, Growth Capital. And Alchemy Growth Capital is the fund who is dedicated for the healthcare and the welfare industry, wellness industry. So first of all, Alkaji, I would like to welcome you and thank you for thank you for your presence here at very short notice. So Alkaji, we would like to understand from you the Alchemy Growth Capital Fund which you are running. What is your mandate and how you are basically looking for investment, or what kind of investment you have done in the past in the healthcare and wellness sector? And along with that, if you can cover up about the India's wellness industry has been on a steady rise after COVID-19 pandemic, and what are the factors driving this growth, and what led to the paradigm shift in people towards health and overall well-being? Because you have seen many business models, you have getting regularly proposals from the wellness sector. It will be helpful to us to understand from you. And what are the challenges faced by an investor while evaluating healthcare startup opportunities? What are your expectations from the healthcare startups in terms of value, impact, growth, profitability, and valuation, etc.? And the last one is how are the healthcare startups leveraging AI and technology to their advantage and to reach to the rural areas and the semi-rural areas of the country. So welcome you again and thank you very much, and over to you, Alkaji.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ashish, for the warm welcome. And it's just a privilege to be in the company of amazing experienced panelists. So you asked a lot of questions in there, so I'll probably try and cover as much as I can in a brief amount of time, given the various other speakers. So my name is Alka, as you mentioned, and I am the founder of Alchemy Growth Capital, which is an early stage healthcare and wellness fund. If I see the other speakers, most of them are much more later stage than us. So what that really means is we are looking at really young companies that have been established over the last 3-4 years and have product market fit. And those are the kind of companies we get in quite early with many of these companies, and work with them to help them get to a stable product market fit and hopefully on the path to scale and profitability. From my vantage point, we look at the entire healthcare and wellness market, which includes diagnostics, devices, pharma, healthcare delivery, insurance, even animal health, medical education, supply chain. So it's a fairly large mandate, and therefore we are quite excited to see it. And the amount of activity that's happening in the healthcare and wellness space is huge. It's very encouraging, actually. Our team alone probably needs more than 4 to 5 new companies a week, which just tells you of the substrate of healthcare companies that are eager to get started and disrupt the healthcare market. So that is very encouraging, probably because of some of the trends you mentioned and also the importance of healthcare. So that's a little bit about our fund. We've invested, frankly, along a wide array of subsectors, which does include diagnostics, POCTs, pharmacies, wellness, femtech, primary care. So it's been quite a large variety of companies we've invested in. You talked about wellness being one question, and you already highlighted the importance. So I would just agree with you there. As you mentioned, the journey of healthcare actually starts significantly before you become a patient. And that could mean as you said, better sleep, better nutrition, better lifestyle in general. And people are just becoming more aware. I think it's frankly not even COVID. COVID definitely accelerated it. But the presence of information on social media, the obsession with vanity and obesity on things like Instagram and others, at least got people to think about how they look, how they feel. And the journey somehow has evolved towards being more holistically healthy, which means healthy from the outside and the inside. And therefore, you even have things like, as you said, wearables, but preventive health checkups. People are getting it more proactively. A lot of POCT devices, it's not just exercise and nutrition. So we are seeing a fair amount of uptake in the wellness companies. And you can see that from the emergence of a lot of brands in the food, new brands in the food sector, new brands in the nutrition sector, new brands even in personal care. or even different models for, a lot of, you mentioned diagnostics, a lot of diagnostic companies now beginning to focus on new types of tests and preventive health tests as well. So it's fairly large scope, and it has been quite exciting. COVID has accelerated that. But honestly, the level of awareness has increased because of self-realization, and self-realization creates a call to action. So you're not only seeing this being talked about, but people are putting it in action. Of course, the penetration possibility is much higher than what it is today, but it's in the right direction. I know the second question was very different, related to what do we look for, and frankly, we can spend the next 40 minutes on that, and even that may not be enough, but at least from our point of view, because these companies tend to be very early, there is a little bit of emphasis on the management team and the founding team. Of course, there's a little bit of the track record and the traction so far, and the vision that the founder or founding team has. That's something we spend a lot of time on, because the product market fit may not be perfect at the time we invest in. I can go into a lot of detail there, but I can come back if people have questions. The third question, which was again, on a very different thing about AI, use of AI. I think there's a ton of data being generated. You mentioned some government initiatives as well. The question is, how do you use this data in the most automated possible way? And how do decision makers use this data for better outcomes, be it on the health side, be it on the financial side? I don't think we are seeing that quite there. Yes, there are many applications of AI, but none of them have really gained scale the way we would like to, but I would imagine the next 10 years will be different.
Okay, great. Thank you, Alkaji. I think you have given a lot of insights about your fund, how you are basically looking to invest, what generally you see when you are investing in the any startup or any healthcare company. So that will be helpful to our audience to understand, and they might approach you for their funding requirement. So a lot of startups are there who are listening to you also. So thank you very much once again. And now I would like to invite Mayur Sardesai ji. Mayur ji, the managing partner of the fund called Somerset Indus Capital Partners. So first of all, Mayur ji, welcome in this webinar, and we would like to thank you for giving your consent to us. This is such an important topic. So Mayurji, we would like to understand from you about your fund, basically this the Somerset fund, how you are helping the healthcare sector, what kind of the investments you have done in the past, and if you can give some case study which will be helpful. And other than that, we would like to, I think, understand from you what are the recent development in private equity investment in healthcare sectors, particularly, and the subsectors, because there are many subsectors which have emerged in the healthcare sector. And so we would like to understand which are the subsectors which are most looked by the investors in the current scenario. So that is one part of the question. And then another question which we like to ask from you is, will private capital continue to flow from new sources and in new ways after consortium-led mega deals, broke deals value records in? So basically the question is that this large deals which are basically happened in the past. So do you think that these kind of the consolidation will happen further, or these kind of flow will be there also in the private equity space? And the third one is basically, what strategy does the healthcare sector need to implement to attract investments to boost the growth of the affordable healthcare? Because you know that 70% population is in the rural areas. Government has also come out with that Ayushman Bharat, where they are giving the medical insurance, healthcare insurance to the people at the bottom of the pyramid. So there is a need of, I think, the healthcare infrastructure at the rural areas at the affordable cost. So how this private equity investment can help in that actually, and how they can attract investments. Over to you, and thank you very much, Mayur sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ashish. So I think it's a pleasure to be here on this panel and sort of interact with all of you. Just let me give you a brief on what Somerset Indus is. So Somerset Indus Capital Partners is a healthcare impact fund focused on the mid-market segment of healthcare in India. Saying so, we have a theme which says access to affordable quality healthcare. So that's sort of theme which we go with, which basically means that we look at lower tier markets and sort of companies which function in that. We started this fund about a decade ago. We have done about 14 investments so far. We are in the process of doing another 3, 4 and sort of closing out fund 2, and we are in the process of sort of starting our third fund, all with the same theme of operation. Our sort of sweet spot is companies around 100 crores, mature companies with EBITDA, with proven business models. But what we really back is strong promoters. I think that is the critical part which we look for in terms of backing companies. One of the companies which we've invested is Dr. Suchin's company, Cygnus Hospitals. I mean, we did that about in 2013, and that's the kind of models we do. I mean, lower tier markets, we do across broadly 5 segments: pharma and life sciences, medtech, which is equipment, devices, consumables. We do diagnostic product services, and then hospitals and clinics, but on the asset light side, and then the whole area of nutrition, wellness, primary care, digital health, and that base. So that's sort of the gamut which we cover. As far as sort of case studies, I'd like to, I'll let Suchin tell about his company, but I'd like to sort of point out another company in this space. Suchin's company is in the healthcare delivery space, and we've done similar investments in other ones like Apex Hospitals and recently in Sterling Hospitals in Gujarat. But we've also done a diagnostic player, and that has been a very great case study. I mean, when we say we do tier 2, always the question comes up is, are these profitable companies? Can they grow? Can they sustain? They may be able to create impact, but can they create sustainable impact? I think we did an investment in a company called Krishna Diagnostics in 2015. It is India's largest PPP player in diagnostics, covers 24, 25 states. It's the largest CT, MRI scan player in India, the largest teleradiology player in India, probably one of the largest pathology players, but all working in the government sector. And first question people will ask always is, working with the government, is it really profitable? Will you get payments on time? The usual sort of issues. I mean, I think they've figured out this model. I mean, what they did is they looked at PPPs which were focused on the National Health Mission. I think the National Health Mission does the PPPs, the National Health Authority does the Ayushman Bharat scheme. We've seen very good sort of ability of companies who can leverage that to provide access to affordable quality healthcare in this. So Krishna, just to give you an example, where we invested was probably about 30 crores in size in 2015. Last year we went IPO, we were 15x of that in revenue. Now this is the kind of growth that you can get if you focus on lower tier markets, because the volume of business is substantial. Agreed that you have to work a model which is low cost. So Krishna provides CT MRI scan services at CTs at 1,200 rupees and MRIs at 2,500. But still, with the volume which they get from day one, ensures that they have sustainable scale in there. And that's the kind of models which we support. We have similar models in GenWorks, which we've done in the medtech space, which is one of India's largest medtech platforms, which covers 600 districts, 40,000 plus customers, direct distribution through 500 salespeople on the ground. So these are scaled assets which can be created in lower tier markets. And I think that's the answer which I think through this I'm answering probably your last question, which is how do you address affordability and sort of access? I think private equity can create access through capital, and I think you can also use technology to create that access. But in lower tier markets, the biggest challenge is affordability. And I think Suchin will also corroborate that when he talks about it. That unless you have a payer mechanism in place, it is very difficult to build a sustainable business, because affordability is a really serious challenge in that. I mean, you mentioned one area where you said, India has so many beds per 1,000 and we need to increase it further. But I will tell you, if you even add beds in lower tier markets, with private paying patients, you will still not even cross 20-30% capacity. What you really need is a payer. And I think what we've seen is if you learn how to work with players like Ayushman Bharat, state government schemes, CGHS, ECHS, etc., you can then provide substantial sort of care in these markets. And I think that is the critical part of sort of working in lower tier markets. So that's sort of covering the factor of, how do you work in affordable healthcare. As far as what sectors work, I think the broad sectors which I pointed out, which we do, which are, pharma, medtech, nutrition, wellness, hospitals, and diagnostics, all sort of are growing. But even within that, I think COVID has led to a large amount of subsectors which were probably 5-10 years away, have accelerated that growth. So I'll just give you an example. Digital health is a great example of that. Digital health would have taken a huge amount of time because doctors were not adopting to it. I think COVID made sure that doctors sort of adopted to that exercise, and that's changed the whole gamut of what it is. Similarly, in diagnostics, I don't think before COVID we had heard of RT-PCR. Today, I think everybody knows what RT-PCR is. And molecular diagnostics was something which would have never come for probably 10 years, because to put a RT-PCR and sort of develop tests in that area was just not something which people would have done in the normal course of things. Today, we probably have 8,000 to 10,000 RT-PCR testing machines in the country. Now, what you see is you've got a huge amount of people trying to develop low-cost tests in infectious diseases, sepsis. We've seen various kind of things being tried. Again, low cost, high volume. I think the whole game is, can you take diagnostics to the lower tier, also to work B2C? I think all these kind of models are coming out now, which are beyond the traditional, B2B model which was built in these markets. Similarly, we've seen even in healthcare delivery, it's no longer a case of building it only through physical assets. Just like I pointed out with Krishna, tele-ICU. We've got another player in Apex, in Rajasthan, which has built an entire tele-ICU network, saying that you can cover critical care through the technology in the most remote parts of Rajasthan. I think these are the kind of models which are coming of age, and you will see more and more of that. I think you can create access through physical assets, but I think technology will create the most amount in terms of access in these markets. So I think these are the kind of things which we are. Another area which we like a lot is medtech. I think that's probably not talked about as much, but medtech and point of care devices, etc., are becoming of age again to really push the envelope in terms of clinical care in the country. So that's another sector which we like. As far as the last question which you asked on sort of capital still flowing for mega deals, I think the market is both consolidating and differentiating itself. I think mega deals are there to do in the hospitals, in the large diagnostic players, and probably as much in pharma. But that doesn't mean that the mid market does not have sort of a play to do. I think as long as you can differentiate yourself, you can create a scaled asset. I think that is the key to that, and there is enough capital to support that. I think, and in this audience, we have sort of funds which sort of cover different sort of stages of the life cycle of a company. I think that just proves the point that in India, just in healthcare, you have enough sector focused funds which can cover it, and then even the sector agnostic funds sort of take over at a much larger scale. So I don't see a dearth of capital. I think a good asset which sort of can scale up and be sustainable. I think there is enough money to support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayur sir. I think you're very well covered in terms of healthcare, affordable healthcare. I think, and there are many case studies, many examples are there which you have given. The private equity investment, these models can be scaled up, and the overall public at large can get the advantage of the affordable health solutions. And I think there are remarkable achievements which have been done by your investee company. And you told that this consolidation and all is a part and parcel of the economy. I think the small player will go to the larger player will go to the other larger player. So this will remain in the system. So thank you very much. I think a lot of insights we got from your discussion. Thank you once again. Friends, now we have Rajiv Gupta ji, who is the president of Policybazaar PB Fintech, which is the company name, but the brand name is Policybazaar. So first of all, Rajiv ji, welcome to you in this webinar. And Rajiv ji, we would like to understand from you, because your company has run through the journey of the private equity investment as a startup, then you have come out with IPO also. So investment point of view, if you see that you have already done all kind of I think instruments, and this company has also grown. And in other way, you are supporting to the healthcare sector by way of the health insurance policies, and you have Pan India. I think this presence in terms of your connectivity on the large number of people are taking the online health insurance. So you like to understand more about that. And then on the question side, if you see, there are some questions we like to ask from you. So one is that the many people are still skeptical about the buying of the healthcare insurance online, because people want to see that somebody should come at home and should give them the brief background and all. So what are your views on that? How this you are bridging this trust gap actually in the healthcare insurance, online healthcare insurance? That is one. Now, how private equity investment has transformed the health insurance sector actually? As you see that many health insurance companies are there which are dedicated on the health. So how this has helped, because almost all these have the private equity investment. And then please discuss about your journey of fundraising impact you were able to create with investors assistance, challenges and the learnings, the investments, and the investor expectation in terms of growth and the profitability. So that's another question which you can cover up. And the third one is the wellness is now being looked at as a comprehensive and holistic approach towards the betterment of our mind and body. What are your views on that actually, and how this insurance can cover up this wellness? Because till now the insurance the wellness is not covered. So over to you, and thank you very much, sir. Yeah, Rajiv sir. Hello, Rajiv sir.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. My apologies.
No, so I'm sorry for that.
Ashish, thank you for having me here, and it is such a pleasure to be amongst big investors around the panel. And having heard some of them speaking, I can tell you that Policybazaar, which belongs to PB Fintech. PB Fintech is a holding company which has two large subsidiaries. One is Policybazaar and the other is Paisabazaar. Policybazaar is into online distribution of insurance, and Paisabazaar is into online distribution of financial products. So these are the two brand names which belong to the holding company, apart from the other subsidiaries which we have. So to start with, investments, I think we've been fortunate. We started our journey in 2008. We were supported by, none other than InfoEdge in our early days. And from there on, I think capital has never been a problem for a company like us. I think, as Yashish rightly says, if you have the right idea and you have the right vision and clear about what you want to do, raising money has never been a challenge for, the PB Fintech group so far. We've raised close to 6,000 crores, including our IPO, till date. And at every stage, when we wanted money and when we were quite clear with our growth picture, going to investors and raising money has never been a big challenge. What has money done to us? Certainly, I think it has helped us to grow. It has helped us to build strong technology platforms across financial products and insurance. We have partnered with almost every insurer in the country today, and every bank. I think almost all banks are partnering with us to sell the distribution products. On the health insurance side, specifically, Ashish, let me be very clear. Policybazaar has today, or is contributing close to 8.5 to 10% of the health insurance premium of the country, the retail premium. While the total premium collection is about 73,000 crores, of which 30,000 odd crores is retail, and the remaining is corporates, where companies provide insurance to their employees. And we contribute close to 8.5 to 10% of the overall health insurance premium to the country. So, to your specific question on whether people still have a problem buying insurance online, yes, I think we have reached out to close to 30 million, customers over the last many years, of which 12 million have bought a policy from us. And our conversion rate of the 100 people who reach out to us is still 8%. That's because many people come to us, inquire, understand what health insurance is all about, compare plans. but only 8 out of them, buy a plan from us. The remaining probably go and buy it from an agent or a bank, So that's because the physical touch is still the need in a country like ours. So what we have done at Policybazaar is we have created a feet on street system, particularly in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. See, while the urban population is very well covered through our online distribution platform, we have built a strong feet on street, in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, close to about 300 people in different towns. And that has helped us to grow our business by 40% last year. Second, we have allowed a certain top tier of our call center operations to offer customer the facility of visit if required, if the customer is not comfortable closing the deal. And that has improved our productivity by another 35%. So net, I think the physical touch certainly makes the difference, though that is not our long-term strategy. Our long-term strategy is to build the strongest technology platform, but the need of the hour currently is obviously, people want to see you face to face before they hand over a check. The other issue which we have been facing is, people being skeptical about getting claims. When you sell health insurance plans, the biggest problem which people have in mind is, do I really need a health insurance? Will I fall ill? See, for motor insurance, it is regulated that you need to have a motor insurance. But for health, I think there's no regulation. So you have to convince people why health insurance is required. So the first challenge is obviously to convince people on they getting their claims on time. And to resolve this, what Policybazaar has done is we have created a large team, I think close to about 300 people only managing health claims, which means we give comfort to the customer that you please report your, health claims to us first. So if you need hospitalization in advance, tell us first. If you need an emergency hospitalization, report that to us, So before you reach the hospital or after you reach the hospital, we will do your paperwork. We will have your cashless ready because you don't have to face the hospital authorities and all those paperwork which you require to go when you reach a hospital. And that has certainly built a lot of confidence, in people, and that we are increasingly, creating more infrastructure to ensure that people get comfort that when they buy a policy from us, their claims get settled. Just for statistical purpose, let me share that, while the loss ratios on the health retail business is more than 100%, for Policybazaar, it is only 40%. The reason being, we encourage declarations upfront. I mean, unlike, people who are used to buying policies from intermediaries who just fill up the form and sign, we insist that, you declare your existing, diseases upfront. So our declarations are more than 50%. And the number of people who go for medicals in our case is close to 40%. Now that results in the claims being much lesser and the rejections being much lesser. So what we are honestly working on is an integrated system. So we are working with hospitals closely. We are working with the claim teams of different companies to ensure that we have enough delegation to be able to process the claims, and ensure that the customer experience is good. And that, I think, is helping us grow. Today, Policybazaar has 90% of the online market share. It's only because we've been able to crack this right. All our insurers are integrated with us on the technology side and on the digital side as well. The other question I think you asked specifically was about wellness. We piloted or we innovated partnering with insurance companies to create bundled products where we give gym memberships, we give yoga sessions, we offer consultancy prior to hospitalization with doctors both India and abroad. All these are bundled by the insurers when they sell the product. So that has certainly also helped us because we are telling people that don't only buy health insurance but also focus on your mental and physical health. I think it's important that the holistic health approach is important, and that also helps us reduce our claims in a big way.
Okay, great, Rajiv ji. Thank you very much. I think you have given very good message to the startups that funding is not a challenge if you have the right kind of model and right kind of approach. That's the big message which you have given, and insights about your journey in terms of insurance business, or the reaching to the last mile customer through the feet on the street and all. I think that will be helpful to all of us to know that how you are penetrating that this thing. But one good thing which you have covered, that the car is more valuable than the health, or the basically the people actually, because government has made it compulsory that whenever you are buying any car, you have to have the insurance. But whenever any child is born, there should be a compulsory requirement that he should or she should have the healthcare insurance. This will change and this will, I think, will capitalize our human being for the future actually. Otherwise, you see that the kind of the complex diseases are happening and all. The cost, the delivery, the healthcare delivery cost, or healthcare, the overall cost, which is increasing day by day. It is very important. I think this one good message, I think for the regulator or for the government, you are giving this message that like motor insurance, there should be something for the health insurance also. All the government has come out with Ayushman Bharat. But that's a scheme which is mainly for the rural people, or the people who are the lower strata of the economy. But it can be made compulsory to some extent. I think that will be a great help. On maybe 10-20 years, we'll see the advantage of it. Thank you very much, sir. Now, sir, friend, now we have Samir Bagleji, who is a veteran in the private equity space, and he is the managing director of Asian Healthcare Fund. And I know him since last many years, and I've seen that he is a very seasoned professional, and he knows in and outs of the investment or healthcare industry. So first of all, Samir sir, welcome to you, and thank you very much for joining with us. So Samir sir, we would like to understand from you about the journey of Asian Healthcare Fund. You invested in many companies, so if you can narrate it, or you can cover up any story on, or the case study, which can be, I think, helpful to our audience. And other than that, from the private equity investment point of view, I would like to understand that the healthcare in India is a huge investment challenges, leading to shortage of funding actually, because the setting up of the large hospital or the large chains and all, the huge funding requirement is there. And if we go to the banks and all, they are limitation, the long-term funding is not available, cost is there. So there are many things are there. And so what factors contribute to the funding gap, and to what extent will the private equity funds manage to bridge this gap actually? That's one question. And the another is how private equity investment has impacted healthcare infrastructure in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. As we have discussed, the number of bed on the per thousand people and all is very, very less. So how this investment is helping, and how healthcare startups are contributing towards the improvement of healthcare infrastructure in tier 2, tier 3 cities. And the third one is the last one, how the pandemic impacted the healthcare industry in a positive way, and how it is done actually. So over to you, and thank you very much, Samir sir.
Thank you, Ashish, for the kind words and for having me on this panel. So I represent Asian Healthcare Fund. We are a healthcare-focused private equity fund. We invest into growth stage companies. So pretty much, I would say, late Series A or Series B rounds of companies. Typical investment size that we invest in is 3 million to 10 million. We invest across the value chain in healthcare. So anything from healthcare delivery to pharma, biopharma, medical devices, health tech. So I would say pretty much similar areas to what Mayur and Alka invest. And currently we are in our second fund. Some of the investments we have done from the first and second funds are Sapka Dentist, which is a chain of dental clinics, Ben Franklin, which is a chain of optical retail counters operating in a shop-in-shop model. We have a company called Forus Health, which is a medical devices company focused on the ophthalmic space. We've also invested in a primary healthcare clinic chain called HealthSpring. So wide range of variety. So coming to your first question, yes, India, your question was about the healthcare infra deficit. So it's a known fact that India is very weak in terms of healthcare infra. So number of beds, 5 per 10,000 against the WHO norms of 3, per 10,000. So stuff like that. Also, geographically, the distribution is quite skewed. So while large chunk of the population stays in rural India, but supply of healthcare is much larger in the urban areas. So the reason for this is simple: resources. India is a developing country, so the amount of resources that we are able to invest is quite limited. So, you showed the chart in the beginning of the session where you showed that the Indian healthcare spend is 4%. But what it did not say is that if you look at the Indian government spend, that is only about 1.4, 1.5% of GDP, which is a fraction of that in other countries. And the reason for that is our budget capacity is limited. It is increasing, but it's still not enough. Definitely, private equity has played a stellar role in meeting this gap. If you look at some estimates, you also showed some charts, but the figure I have is that in the last 3.5, 4 years, something like $10 billion has got invested in healthcare and pharma in India, which is a large number. And this has resulted in helping improve the standards of healthcare, upgrading technology, in creating value for money kind of healthcare services. More importantly, it has also encouraged new models to come. I think both Mayur's, Alka, our portfolio will have companies which have come into play because of private equity. If private equity was not there, many of them would have not grown to the extent they have. So, for example, single specialty, multi-location clinics, which are building a lot more capital efficient model to provide vertically focused services, or medical devices, which Mayur also alluded to, which is focused on providing appropriately engineered devices for the Indian market, or if it is healthcare delivery focused on tier 2, tier 3 India. Sachin is on this call. He's built up Cygnus. There are other examples of that. So in short, I think private equity has definitely played a major role and will continue playing a major role. Coming to the second question on tier 2, tier 3 cities, I think private equity has played a big role. Mayur gave the example of Krishna, but there are others. Secondary care delivery chains like Cygnus, Sachin's company, Vatsalya, BeWell, which have really created inroads in building affordable secondary care in tier 2, tier 3 cities, or if even primary healthcare. So companies like Karma Healthcare, Drishti, which have built platforms to meet the gap of PHC, lack of PHC access, or even single specialty clinics. So, for example, Sabka Dentist, our portfolio company, has set up clinics in Siliguri, Satara, Surat, etc. So, and therefore providing very high quality dental care, which was not available in these markets. Medical devices company, and again, working closely with the government. One of our portfolio companies, Forus Health, is running what is probably one of the largest teleophthalmology networks in Asia. They have 115 installations in the state of Andhra Pradesh, where they have screened something like 2 million patients in a matter of 2 years. And I can continue. There are many more examples. So definitely a lot of impact that private equity funded companies have created in tier 2, tier 3 India. Coming to your last question on the impact of the pandemic on healthcare, I think positive impact, certainly positive impact, because it has increased the focus and the awareness of healthcare in different stakeholders, the consumer, the government, the doctor community. It has helped the sector being seen a lot more positively in terms of resource allocation. There is a greater role of the government which is coming in. The percentage spend is targeted to be increased from 1.5% of GDP to 3% over the next few years. There is reforms happening in the government procurement system. Medical education sector has got expanded. So all those things have happened through the government. There is also a very positive trend in terms of formalization and consolidation of the sector, with movement towards trusted brands, with perception of better quality, trust, aggregation of businesses and services, entry of new areas like mental and physical wellness, health monitoring for remote care, healthcare at home kind of services. So those new areas which have got introduced thanks to the pandemic. Digital growth is something which has happened, has got a fillip because of the COVID pandemic. Mindset of stakeholders have changed, regulatory guidelines have changed, and you're seeing adoption happening much faster. Specialty clinics where you have propensity for treatments to be done in non-hospital environments, in single specialty locations. So more distributed availability of network closer to the patient. So in all, I would say a lot of positive changes to the pandemic, and it's up to us as investors and consumers to keep up the momentum. I hope that answers the questions.
Great, sir. I think you have very well covered all the questions, and you have given insight about your fund also. One very good thing which has come out from your discussion and whatever you have told, that these new models will not be there in the country if the private equity funding or venture funding will not be there actually. So unless until we'll not do the experiment, not take the risk, the new things cannot come out actually. And the another area which you have covered is the tier 2, tier 3 penetration in terms of affordable health delivery or the cost of health solutions. I think there are many examples which you have given. So plenty of examples are there where the people have taken funding and they have delivered the quality healthcare at the lower cost also. So I think this is the need of our, I think in the future also, the past it has happened, in the future also there will be many new models will come, many new investment will be done, which will help in the healthcare delivery at the lower cost, and to they'll reach at the mass population also. So thank you very much, Samir sir. I've got a lot of insight from you. Friends, now we have somebody who is practicing the healthcare actually. So when we decided this panel, we were initially thinking that to invite only the private equity fund, because the major topic was private equity fund. But then one of my colleagues has suggested, why can't we invite somebody who has already run through that journey? Because unless until you are not listening from the horse's mouth, you will not believe in that actually. So that's why we contacted Mr. Bajaj, Dr. Bajaj, and I think we have contacted Dave for yesterday only, and he was kind enough to give us the time for this webinar. It shows his commitment toward the sector. So Bajaj sir, first of all, welcome to you, and thank you very much for joining with us in this today's webinar. And Dr. Bajaj, the founding director of this company called Ujala Cignus. They are running many hospital in the country. So we would like to understand from him that how was the journey from starting to this till date, in terms of that your company has raised private equity, and then you have done many unique models, I think a satellite model which you have and you have reached to many hospitals, and number of beds are also increasing. And now you are the part of a large group. So this is strategic investment also you have done. So the entire journey from the investment point of view you have done. I think the last one is the private equity, this IPO. We will see also after some time. So please tell us about your learnings and the challenges which you have faced, and the support from the investors, the kind of support you got from the investors, and the investor expectations also in terms of growth, because many times we the investors are putting the promoters or the founders on the faster growth. So you like to understand the overall journey in terms of your investments. And the another question is the wellness is now being looked at a comprehensive and holistic approach towards the betterment of the mind and body. What are your views on this? Because now many hospital chains are getting into the wellness sector also. So you are taking it further. And then the last one is that do hospitals indeed need PE investment to grow these firms flush with funds on the potential the hospital that hospitals hold out in the country. So mainly whether the hospital chains or hospitals are requiring the money from the private equity fund, or they have sufficient money, or they have the other options like debt funding and all which are available, so will be suitable to them. Over to you, sir, and thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Ashish sir, for having me on the panel. Uh, and I am here because of a large part played by our private equity investors, of whom the first and the most prominent Mayur sir is also here on the panel. The journey started very small. I come from a very resource constrained background. I have no financial backing or anything. So the journey started because I understood a problem and wanted to solve it. So I think the first thing that all entrepreneurs should really look is whether they really understand a problem and do they have a solution for it. The solution may not be a very good solution. That doesn't matter really, because you can keep working on the solution for a long time. I've been working on the solution for now more than 14 years. I say to most people that मेरा वनवास खत्म होने वाला है, 14 वर्ष हो गए मुझे. So but I think understanding the problem is very important. The thing is that most investors spend entrepreneurs spend very little time on understanding the problem, start jumping to solutions very quickly, and then fall in love with their solutions, and that is why it doesn't really work. So if you can really understand the problem deeply, I think you can keep working out solutions for that. So I understood the problem that I was the only doctor in the extended family. I was the only one educated enough to try and help people. So most of the extended family living in small towns and villages around Delhi used to call me for any medical help. That somebody's had a heart attack, somebody's had a head injury, somebody's critical. We are bringing him to Delhi. Can you help us? So this problem kept coming again and again. On the one hand, of course, it felt very nice that I could help these people. I was the educated person in the family. But on the other, it always kept troubling me that why did these people have to travel 5-6 hours in a hired jeep to come to Delhi to access healthcare? And sometimes they wouldn't come at all. Cell phones were not very common at that time. I would keep waiting for them all night, and in the next morning I would get to contact them, and then they would say, oh, the person died on the way, so we are back in our village now. And when I went to their funerals, I would keep hearing these stories again and again that, oh, maybe it's good that this person died on the way. The last one that did make it to the hospital in Delhi spent 15 days there, then died, and then he had to sell his land and his fields and his house to pay for the medical bills. And now look, his widow is begging on the street and his children are on the streets as well. At least this one's family has something to live by. So all these problems kept coming again and again and again, and I understood that there was this real lack of medical services. If you traveled even 50 kilometers outside the big city, you had absolutely nothing there. If you were unlucky enough to have a critical illness there, I mean, even if you were worth hundreds of crores of rupees, there were very little chances that you would survive the travel into the big city. So this is how we started. We started very small, of course. Me and my co-founder, we were both doctors, and we used to have our monthly budget meetings like, oh, we need to buy a glucometer and a nebulizer both, but a glucometer is 1100 rupees, a nebulizer is 1400 rupees, which one we should buy. So we used to have these kinds of discussions. And of course then we met, luckily, Mayur sir, who's sitting here, and he really held our fingers and our hands and led us through this entire journey of how we could scale up, what we could do, what were the problems we could solve, what were the bigger solutions that we could look at instead of the smaller ones we were looking at that time. So I think uh, having a good investor, so it's clearly from our story, you can clearly see that investor is not just about the money, right? You can't just take money from anyone and start trying to build things up. You need a lot of hand holding, you need a lot of guidance, you need a lot of their experience to work on things, and you need to see the future through their eyes a bit as well. So you keep seeing the future through your eyes and develop your solutions, but their point of view is also very important in case you need to attract more investors to come and back you. I think the second question you had was about investor expectations. So yeah, as I said, each and every investor is different, like each and every entrepreneur. So some funds have a very short fund life, some have a longish fund life, some are more focused on growth, some are more focused on returns. So I think you need to be very sure which investor you are marrying to. I mean, it is truly like a marriage. So you need to be really sure that your thoughts and your views match. If you are in healthcare and you take a very short term investor, I think it will be very tough for you. As Mayur sir said, we've been together since 2013, so 9 years we've been working together. They invested in Krishna also, I think, at this almost around the same time, when it was a very small company. We were also very small. We were also about 25-30 crore kind of a company when Mayur sir invested into us, and this year will close at about same 450 crores of revenue. So again, the same growth path. So I think you need to be very sure that the investor's thought process is matching yours, and I think then it is very easy to manage the investor expectations. I don't think they are ever unrealistic. They just push you a little bit more to work harder to get to targets that you did not even think were possible earlier. So I think it opens up your eyes to a lot of good things. Uh, on the wellness and holistic care process, I think the future is in wellness and holistic care and health at home. In the very near future, not even 4 or 5 years down the line, I think hospitals will be places only for very critical or very high end surgical patients. Rest, everything will be treated at home. For example, we did a large study during the setting up of the Mohalla clinics in Delhi. We were working very closely with the government there. So, if you see any government hospital, if you go to a government hospital till around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there is not even space to put your foot there. I mean, it's so heavily crowded, you can't really get in. And if you go after 5 o'clock, it's like the morgue completely. There's nobody there. I mean, it's all empty. And why is that? So because the OPDs are so heavy, we estimated that if setting up a Mohalla clinic would take care of about 80% of this OPD load of the hospitals, and 80% of patients would be treated on outpatient basis. The latest data that the Delhi government has brought out is 95% of all patients in Mohalla clinics are being treated there. None of them are being referred out. Only 5% patients are being referred to hospital. So I think this is the future of small clinics or even healthcare at home. Most of the treatments would be at healthcare at home, and like Mayur sir said, uh, the digital health is going to really boom, and the pandemic has really helped it. The doctors are now much more receptive to digital health, and in just like all of us, I don't think any of us would be having this kind of a panel in 2018 or early 19, right? It wouldn't have been possible. We wouldn't have thought that this could be possible. We would have been flying across the country to meet each other to do this panel. So I think digital health is one of the bigger things coming in. So wellness, healthcare at home, and holistic healthcare, in contrast to just curative care that we focus on, is the future. Right now, 91% of India's budget is on sick care, not healthcare. So whenever we speak of healthcare, unfortunately, most of us are speaking about sick care. None of us speak about healthcare at all. We wait for the patient to get sick and then treat that patient, and then we say that we are talking about healthcare. So I think the future is, of course, that way. Your next question was, do hospitals need P investment, or is it just that the investors are bullish about it? I think it's a mix of both. The potential, of course, is really huge. As you said in the very beginning about the per capita expense, so if you see the per capita expense of India, it is, I think, less than 1/10 the per capita expense of Brazil. I mean, we should just forget about US, which is like 150 times more. But even Brazil spends more than 10x of what India spends per capita on healthcare. So if you see our population, it's huge. Uttar Pradesh is more populated than Brazil. If you put Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand together, which was till recently a single state, it is more populous than the United States of America. So, and you can compare the healthcare facilities across these two geographies. WHO says that in a LMIC country like India, you should be having about 5,000 surgeries per 100,000 population per year, right? And this number can go as high as about 23,000 in communities that have huge awareness and very low out of pocket expense, like in the Scandinavian and the Nordic countries. But if you see the number of surgeries that India had only about 1.5 crore surgeries last year. So that's only about 1,200 per 100,000, right? So where are the other 3,800 patients? They're just not aware, or they cannot afford the surgeries, and that is why you have all these Guinness Book of World Records being created in India, right? Everybody is very happy. Oh, we removed a 25-kilo tumor from this girl, and now look, every doctor is holding that tumor in his hands and getting a photograph in the newspapers. But that tumor should have been removed 5 years ago, right? The poor girl has been carrying that tumor around with inside her body for 5 years because she was not even aware that this is possible, and if she was aware, it was not accessible for her to get that surgery done. So I think with the government's focus on covering the missing middle, as well as making sure that each and every person is insured, the affordability and accessibility part will be taken care of to a large degree. And at that point, I think healthcare organizations that work on the motto that we work on, like Mayur sir's other companies work on changing the entire healthcare model from the previously accepted low volume high margin model that most private sector wanted to do, to the now prevalent high volumes low margin model. I think the companies that accept this will be right at the sweet spot to exploit all of that huge demand that will now come up, the 3,800 other patients that will come up to them. Because frankly, I feel the mom and pop run small nursing homes that are there in the small towns will not have the bandwidth to take care of the statutory and the legal compliances and the immense paperwork that all this entails, with working with the government, and the working capital demands that come up because the government payments will take their own sweet time to come in. And the bigger players that are currently working will simply not have the wherewithal to work at those prices and those margins. They are not used to doing that. So I think the organizations that focus on making efficiencies part of their life, we have been champions of Ayushman Bharat ever since the beginning. All our 19 hospitals across 5 states of North India are impaneled with Ayushman. In fact, we were the first ones in the country to do an angiography and an angioplasty under the Ayushman scheme. We were the first ones to do a mitral valve surgery under the Ayushman Bharat scheme. Yesterday, in fact, we did a keyhole double valve replacement surgery under the Ayushman Bharat scheme, cardiac surgery, yesterday evening. So we were the first ones to be awarded the golden certificate by the government of India as a mark of recognition for providing excellent healthcare. In fact, out of the first 10 hospitals in the country, 4 of them were ours. So we have clearly proven that you can earn money ethically while providing for the communities that don't have access. And we have also clearly proven that you cannot be poor quality if you are building for the poor, right? You for healthcare, outcomes are the most important. You cannot afford to have poor outcomes, so all our hospitals are NABH accredited, and we make sure that we are confident enough to use the services that we are providing, right? So my daughter was born in one of our hospitals, my son has had 2 surgeries in one of our hospitals. So we walk the talk while we say that we provide very high quality healthcare services at the most affordable prices. So I think all this could never have been possible. We couldn't even have thought about it if private equity wasn't our partners, if they hadn't come in at the right time to provide the right backing, not just in terms of money, but in terms of guidance, in terms of thinking how to solve bigger problems and how to scale up our solutions to a degree that most doctor entrepreneurs do not think. Like most doctor entrepreneurs, even the biggest of doctor entrepreneurs you would see, are stuck to 1 or 2 hospitals. They don't really see the potential to do 10 or 20 hospitals or 30 or 50 or 100 hospitals. So I think private equity, once it comes in, it shows you that there is a possible path to do that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bajaj. I think your deliverables are very, very important and heart-touching also, I will say. Because whatever you have told, actually you have told from core of your heart, actually. And your journey is also very, very insightful, exciting. And I think you told that you started from with a zero base and you reached to this stage. So definitely your hard work is there, but the private equity has also helped a lot to you in terms of the vision, reaching to that stage, and lowering the cost of delivery. So these are the areas I think which helped a lot actually. And you have 19 hospital. So I think great story, and there are a lot of people who are listening you. They will be excited, and they will, because as you know that many people are there who are in the tier 2, tier 3 city, but they don't have this kind of vision. They have the thinking that they want to do something, but your story, they will be, I think, will be exciting, and they will try to be in the part of the ecosystem in the healthcare delivery, healthcare system. So I think it's a great idea which you have given. That whenever you are raising equity, it should be at the right time. Time is very important. When you raise money at the right time, I think it can be a great help. And you told that in Ayushman Bharat and all, you have done the many first things actually. I was listening yesterday to this R.S. Sharma ji, NHA. Some data that the overall the claims which they got, I think some 46,000 crore till now. And 4 crore people they have treated actually under Ayushman Bharat, the government of India. So the overall, the cost per patient is something around 12,000 rupees. Although this is covered up to 5 lakh rupees by the family, but the cost per person is 12,000 rupees. So really, you see that it's a big change in the country, and we are capitalizing our future, the future generations actually. So for this, we need the hospitals like you, those can treat these patients at the very low cost. And as you told that the quality should not be hampered actually. So the one good message which you have given, the quality, because it's not like that the poor is poor, so we should give the lower quality. Poor should also get the same quality because they deserve the same. The human body is same for everybody actually. So great, sir. Thank you very much. I think your presence makes a lot of difference to us actually. And I thank you to Mayur sir also that he has your company could find you in the initial years. There will be such stories maybe in the future also. So friends, I think it's a great panel, and I would like to thank you to all the panelists with the folded hands that they have come in this webinar and they have given the insights about their organization, their journey, their stories, and the case study. And they've given us the knowledge that how they are looking to invest and how the companies are growing and what the organizations should look for. And it will be helpful to all the stakeholders in the system, in the healthcare industry. And कहते हैं ना, हेल्थ है तो वेल्थ है एक्चुअली, तो वो प्रैक्टिकली तो मतलब आप कुछ भी कर लीजिए बट हेल्थ नहीं है तो कुछ भी नहीं है. So I think this will help a lot actually to the people, to the industry, to the government and everybody. And the discussions will reach to the all stakeholders. The outcomes are, I will say, if I like to summarize, because we have already crossed the time, so I'll not take the questions from the audience. I think we have covered most of the questions. So we summarize it, I think, as this thing, Madam told, Miss Alkaji told about the startup and the early stage investment and all, because somebody should be there to take the risk, because a lot of people are there who are entrepreneur, but they lack capital actually. They lack some kind of vision also. So private equity funds are helping. So this Alchemy Growth Fund is helping in such a big manner, and you are covering the wellness sector, which is I think very important. If you can save money, so every money saved is every money, every penny saved is every penny earned actually. So this will be a great thing that we can have the population which is more healthy, more fit. I think that the less expenditure on the healthcare. So I think this Alchemy Growth Fund will definitely help to the people in the country about the wellness. And then Mayurji has given a lot of examples in the investment which they have done, Krishna and all, and the Cygnus also. So you are pioneer into the affordable healthcare delivery investments actually. So which is the need of the hour actually, and India is such a vast country where we have more than this 28 states. So I always call the year 28 countries actually. So there will be many such examples which will be created in the future, and a lot of requirement is there. The overall expenditure which we are spending on the healthcare, we have seen, it is very, very low actually in terms of other developing countries also. Even Nepal is having more than the budget in terms of whatever we are doing actually. So this is very important for us to understand. And that's Rajiv ji, I think the insurance point of view, healthcare insurance point of view, you have given many insights to us also, that how they are helping the sector, how they are covering the large part of the population, and how they are converting people to go online and then get the claim settlement in a transparent manner. So definitely, and this Policy Bajaj journey also, he told that the private equity has done a lot of help of them to grow faster. So these models are also needed. And then I think Samir sir has covered the various things from his experience, and whatever he has covered, it is very, very important for all of us actually, because healthcare infrastructure, if the infrastructure is not there, how you can treat the people actually? Because to some extent, the technology can help, but the touch and feel is required, and there should be some infrastructure to treat the people actually. So there is huge requirement of healthcare infrastructure, where the private equity funds are helping, and I hope that it will grow faster also. And the last, I think, Bajaj sir, I think your journey was very, very exciting, and I'm really delightful to know that you started with a humble background and you reached to such a stage, and you are treating people, lots of people on a regular basis, and people are getting the advantage. So friends, in nutshell, I will say that the private equity investment, there are a lot of impacts on the all stakeholders. I'll not say only the hospital chains or the healthcare industry, the people at large actually. You see that the population, because you see the many models are there. If the private equity will not invest in these companies, they are not invested in these companies, will not get the such kind of healthcare solutions, this healthcare at home actually, because you see that many models are coming where you are sitting at home, you are getting so somebody has contacted me, he told that they are doing chemo at home, which was never thought of earlier actually. So like this, there will be many models, and in the future also the private equity will support. So maybe there may be some requirement of the funds where they may need some kind of discipline, some kind of corporate governance. They are looking for returns also, but this is right actually, because anybody who is investing money in your company at their initial stage, and they need return also, and they are committed to their investor. So nothing wrong in it actually, and if you can grow faster and you can get the right kind of solutions, I think this can be helpful to the all stakeholders. So I'll say that this is really helpful. I would like to thank you once again to all the panelists for their insights, their deliverables. And I would like to thank you to all the audience who have come and joined us in this webinar. And the last one, I would like to thank you to all the people who were involved from the Resurgent India, Mohan and all. They have done wonderful job, because without them, we will not be here actually. They have brought us at one place, and they have done all presentations and all questions and everything, which is, I think, very much relevant. So once again, I would like to thank you to everybody and wish you all very happy Deepavali to all of you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Diwali to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Diwali.
Thank you. Same to you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.